Welcome to the Death Battle Cast, the show where we have been doing this for 10 years, guys.
Whoa!
What the hell is wrong with us?
Long time.
So we've got a massive cast
I feel like
today.
I'm with the Brady Bunch.
Exactly. Shoot. So let's go down the line. I'm Ben, voice of Wiz. Next to me, it's Liam.
Whoa. Hello there,
Voice of
Liam.
Voice of Liam.
But you know him better as writer and director of multiple death battles, as well as research lead.
Yeah.
Commanding the
nerd
team
supreme.
of researchers, leading us through the trenches of
Nerd.
ridiculous shit. It's Chad over there.
Hey, I play the other one.
I mean, the other one's kind of important for the episode that just aired, so you know.
Just a little bit.
The emotional core of the of this last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh
we
man,
will
we've got
get
stuff
into
to
that.
talk about for
Our
that.
300th episode will be all about Wiz.
There it
It's
is.
gonna take 150 more episodes. You know what? Probably.
Actually, I've pitched some crazy shit to Ben about some Wiz ideas for Wiz's lore. So
I've started to
Great.
really enjoy doing Wiz lore in the preview endings, just being yeah, Wiz blew up this planet.
I feel like a lot of the writers all kind of at one point want to just dive more into that.
Yes.
Especially I think the longer you write for the show, the more you're like, this battle shit's cool, but can we talk about these weirdos and what they're up to?
Yes,
and why
yeah,
they're doing
absolutely.
this?
There's no limit to what you can write for these two. Then it becomes
Yeah, and we sort of
fun.
make things up as it goes. But real quick, finishing the introductions, we have other writer-director right below me. That's Josh.
Hello.
It's Josh.
It's just me.
And then Billy, who I don't remember if we actually announced this, but if we didn't or doing it now, is gonna be directing an episode of Death Battle next year.
Yeah.
That's awesome. They gave me more control than I should have.
Well,
I know what episode it is.
he was handling DBX for this year and did a phenomenal job. And also he's the voice of Ringmaster, if you didn't know.
I shout that
The way you delivered that.
Just that thing.
Wow.
Little thing. And then we got Sam.
Oh hi.
Damn.
Who's
I
been-
do. When we're here now, I know Ben, you did have a lot of things planned, but
I mean, not really.
Oh, we derailing it?
Already?
A little bit. We got
Go
an
ahead.
email. We got an email from YouTube, and they were like, "Hey guys, good show. You're real big now. One of you has to fight a TikToker." And I Wait, just
what?
wanted to go through and see who we have now that we have to do a pay-per-view fight. I'm thinking Liam.
Hold on.
Liam, I think we're putting you in the
back
ring,
up.
right?
Wait, back up. This is like
I wanted
box.
to do it.
Like okay.
Chad, this is a bit.
Are you making-
It's called
okay, got it,
improv.
okay.
I know you're sleepy, but
I get it. I get it.
how that all the YouTubers have been fighting TikTokers
Yeah.
recently. It's a
Exactly.
popular thing. Yeah. We're playing in a space.
I'll
We're
fight
doing
to
a
the
bit.
death, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So,
I told
okay,
you.
Liam's
I'm
really
really
tired.
I'll fight.
Liam, what kind of fighting style you think you're going out there with?
I'm gonna
Child scratch? Is that it?
Yeah, well, and
Hamster style, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. In keeping with my recent casting as Donkey Kong in the Mario movie.
Oh.
I'm gonna be landing them banana slammers, just left and right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit the ground, and it'll intimidate them. I think.
I like it.
Then I'll just rip my clothes off to scare them, and then I'll just grapple them like a spider monkey and just start biting. I think that's what I'll do.
Okay.
I'm a big guy too. That's gonna be a pain in the ass.
I mean, nobody wants to fight somebody who's naked.
No, it's an immediate thing, and I'm gonna look
Are
in the
you?
eye.
Are you a
Looking-
big guy, Liam? I've met you in person once. I can't remember if you're tall or not.
I'm 6'3".
No, you're fucking
No,
not.
you're not.
You
I am.
liar.
What the fuck you talking? Ben,
Are you
back me up
seriously
here.
6'3"?
I am
He is.
6'3". Yes, I'm very tall. I'm over 200 pounds. I'm a
I
big un.
specifically remember the first time I actually met Liam in person, thinking wow, you're way taller than I thought you were. For
Oh my
whatever
God,
reason,
do
I thought
do I
that.
need to go back to Texas?
Yeah,
Dude,
you should come
yeah,
down.
yeah,
We
you
have
do.
a fucking Halloween
Yes.
party.
Yeah. Oh,
Liam, of course you do.
You can drink your price, whatever the ticket costs. You can drink that much liquor. You should come.
For free?
Yeah, it's open bar. Well, I'm not going.
Well, let's look up ticket prices.
Yeah, hit 'em
Okay,
up.
I usually do
Yeah, you should.
American.
Share your
This
screen.
is the first time I had that thing that people say to me where they're like, "Wow, I always thought you were taller, or I thought you were shorter." Like from being like, this is the only time this has ever happened to me.
Well,
No,
apparently
mine's
everybody
blown.
thinks you're short, I guess, Leo, for some
Yeah.
reason.
Damn, what the fuck?
I didn't even think he was
That's
short.
actually. I went on a date with a woman that said like I always assumed that you were short over Zoom, and I was like, that's so interesting, and because I am not, I am 6'3".
You need to start like doing your Zoom calls in front of one of those things they have on like the sides of the doors, so they can
Yeah.
tell how high a robber
Yeah,
is
yeah,
when
exactly.
they
I need to
leave,
do
right?
a full on,
just,
like, all right, NYC
just at the mugshot station, just
just-
like walk in there, and be like, hey, can I use this space as a Zoom call right quick?
He needs to
I
start
need him to
adding
know
his
I'm
height to his
6'3".
bio. Right?
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, I'm gonna add it now. I guess. Fuck.
Well, what do you mean? Add
Okay,
it now. Have
which-
you been on fucking like any of them? I feel
Which
like
day should I
height
arrive?
discrimination is
30th
like
is probably good, and then I'll leave.
no, I'll Slack you. I'm not going to say any of the real dates or any information for obvious reasons, but I will Slack it to you right now so you can see what's up.
Okay. I'm just looking at ticket prices.
You want a weird dumb fact? No, we're derailing, Ben.
$177. Okay, I'm coming. Like,
Hell
I
yeah!
can drink that much alcohol in one sitting?
Oh yeah, no problem.
Bunch in one day.
I can do that like a fucking.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's great. Okay.
So,
Well,
Can I
all
stay
right.
at somebody's house? Do I need to get like a, should I? No, I shouldn't ask. That.
We'll
can
figure
get
it out.
Yeah,
later
probably.
while we're not
Yeah, we
live
can
and supposed
figure
to
that
be doing
out.
the
Yeah, we can
Goku
figure it
Black
out.
versus Reverse Flash Q&A.
I'd offer, but like I said, my kids get exposed to COVID every other week thanks
That's
to
okay.
Texas schools. So like, I couldn't tell you if it would be a safe time or not.
Totally fine. I understand.
Well, all right. So that happened. That's cool.
We're getting shit done today.
Yeah. All right. So first 10 minutes of Death Metal Cast, and we are accomplishing big things. But we do need to get to a couple different things, a little more related to the Death Metal episodes that have aired. Specifically, we have a Q&A for Goku Black versus Reverse Flash that I want to cover because we said we would do that earlier, and then we had Armando guesting on the last Death Metal Cast, and I tend to prefer not to do Q&As whenever a guest is on because there's not really a whole lot for them to do in a Q&A.
Yep.
So we moved it to this week. And then I want to talk about the episode that just aired, Macho Man versus Kool-Aid Man, and the
Oh, yeah.
crazy trip we have had to get to this point.
yeah.
The episode that divided a nation. No, I'm just kidding.
That one, I mean... but also as we're talking about all this, like, Death Metal's been around for 10 years, guys.
It's crazy.
150 episodes.
It's a real long time.
Oh, dude, I
It's-
made a tweet about the joke that we did 6 years ago with having Barb play Mama Boomstick, and I dug up, I was like, I want to get a screenshot, so I dug up the Death Battle Live that we had done, and I was like, oh my god, Ben and I look so young.
That was before Death Metal Cast. We did a Death Metal Live,
Yeah.
like, reveal
Yeah.
or whatever it was for
Yep.
Yang Tifa. Man, that was so long ago. Yeah, I think we technically cast her as Grandma Boomstick when we were live.
It evolved. Yeah, I think
but-
you started by saying
yeah.
Grandma Boomstick, and then later you say, we got to have you as Mama Boomstick, I think.
Maybe. I don't remember exactly, but...
Whatever, we got it.
Either way.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Look at, God, we look so
That's
young.
amazing.
Wow. Look at that old ass set with the big
What
table.
the fuck? Y'all do look very young. Have we all gotten that old? You look like Liam in that picture. You're so young.
How old were you in that picture? Because I'm 25 now.
Yeah, probably about that.
Damn.
That was our office off corporate. So that
So
was about
6
that was
years
6
ago.
years ago. Yeah.
So I was 29.
Yeah, 6 years ago? Oh my gosh, math.
Chad,
26?
you were 20. You were 29.
Yeah, dude, I'm 35. It sucks.
Fuck, when did you get so old, B?
This old man.
We used to be
all right.
teenagers together.
I know,
Now you
I
fucking
know.
old as hell.
Hold on, now I'm the only one that's crossed the threshold, but because you're 2 years younger than me, all right.
Nah, man, I'm still
Chad's the only
fresh.
old man here, apparently.
This is bullshit.
No, that's a lie. I fucking hurt my back trying to pet a dog earlier, man. This fucking life out here is tough.
All right. So as we are going through these episodes, I will be looking at chat if you are watching this live, just to see what you guys are bringing up, and if anybody has a question or like a topic that might, kick something up on the cast, we can cover that as well. So go ahead and join the conversation. It'd be great to have you. Let's start off with Goku Black Reverse Flash Q&A. Chad, I don't know if you have the rundown.
I definitely do not have it open right now.
Then if anybody else has it, they can do the question and answer thing. But I'll go ahead and start.
You start. I'll pull it up.
Let's do. And Liam, you probably have some answers for us.
Hi.
Better have some answers for us.
Who did this?
Why did you not include Fused Zamasu? Would his inclusion have changed the verdict? By the way, probably should have said this. Spoilers for Goku Black versus Reverse Flash and Macho Man versus Kool-Aid Man throughout this episode of Death Metal Cast.
You had a chance.
Why didn't you include Fused Zamasu, man?
Well, the reason is we talked about it. Obviously we talked about it.
Yeah.
That was everyone that was discussing the match. Like their first question was, "Are they going to include Fused Zamasu?" It's an obvious question. There's two kind of answers. The first one is in terms of like what the match is. It didn't really. It's like it's not Goku Black anymore. Like the way the match, like the theming of the match is like the opposite evil versions of like two big heroes, the Flash and Goku. So thematically, it would have been different. Second, you'd have to like devote like only half the fight to having normal Goku Black, and then have Fused Zamasu jump in there. So the fight would have felt like really rushed, because that's a lot to include. Third, it technically would have counted as outside of help, because they're different. Like it's a different timeline version of Fused Zamasu. Of Zamasu, who then fuses into kind of like a Gogeta.
I feel like, it would be the same thing as like having a Goku fight and be like, oh, why didn't you do Gogeta? And it's like, well, that's not just Goku
kind
anymore.
of a gray area, because it is like the same person, but it's not.
Well, it's weird because Dragon Ball's timeline shenanigans isn't like the Zamasu that fuses with Goku Black is not him from the past or future. It's a different Zamasu, basically, because of the way the timeline shenanigans works.
Even if you just look at, like, the two Trunkses, like, they're so different. I think it's pretty easy to say, like, they're different people, even though they're the same person, right?
Yeah. And it ultimately wouldn't have mattered. Like the it would have made Fused Zamasu obviously would have done better against Thon than Goku Black, but the advantages that it gives him wouldn't have countered the advantages that Reverse Flash had. It wouldn't have made it fast enough to kind of to catch up to.
We did kind of cover that a little bit in the episode.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't have changed that much, and
Reverse Flash
Thon's level of power can actually
collapse timeline easily,
which might come up in a later question. Chad, do you have that?
Why do you now consider the Dragon Ball universe to be 13 times larger than our own?
That was just an updated calc that we
the general idea was I believe Ultra was like calcing it and was like, well, there's all this empty space basically between the main universe and then like the orb that circles it, right? The like Kai realm kind of thing. I was like, if we include all that empty space that it's circling around in, it should be larger than the 9 times. Mm-hmm. And obviously when the shockwave was occurring in Battle of Gods, it went all the way into the Kai realm. So presumably it would be going into that empty space as well. That's the 13.
Yeah.
Basically.
I even think the 9
That's
times...
very basic, but...
Yeah, I even think the 9 times might have included that. It might have just been like a difference of like taking a statement a different way. Like, oh, maybe it meant this instead. It's like very like small detail stuff.
Yeah. Which is why we're saying 9 to 13.
Yeah.
Ish.
And it's not a huge difference ultimately. Like it's still, 9 to 13 on that kind of scale we're talking about isn't too big. It's just a difference of strategy or
exactly.
Attempt.
Real quick pause for this week's sponsor, and this one's a cool one. It's Demon Slayer. Now is the moment. Become the blade that destroys demons. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles, launches October 15th on PS5, PS4, Xbox, and steam. Tanjiro, a kind-hearted boy who sells charcoal for a living, if you've seen the show or the manga, you know him, comes home to find his family murdered and his sister Nezuko transformed into a demon. Devastated from the tragedy, he resolves to become a demon slayer, restore Nezuko's humanity, and kill the demon that massacred his family. Based on the Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba anime and the box office hit Mugen Train arc, the game's adventure mode lets you relive the memorable moments and thrilling battles. And then there's the versus mode. It gives you the choices of any combination of two characters to battle. With easy-to-learn controls and exhilarating gameplay, rise up to become the strongest of the Demon Slayers. And master the multitude of spectacular skills of a wide roster of characters from the Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba anime. So, you can pre-order Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba The Hinokami Chronicles to unlock 2 bonus characters and get early access to the game. To pre-order, go to bit.ly/DSHC Death Battle. There should just be a link below that you can click. That's awesome. Go ahead and check that out. But let's get back to the Death Battle cast. Question 3.
How would Thawne figure out about Black's time ring? Huh? Time, huh?
Answer that.
Time, huh? Thanks for
no.
There you go.
It's just become like time, huh? Thanks for this.
It's a shirt now. You can go get that shirt at roosterteethstore.com. I should have worn it.
Shit, yeah. So, oh my god, I completely. What is the question again?
How did Thawne figure out about Black's time ring?
Yeah. Okay, so the time ring. Okay, so just sort of basically, the time ring glows brightly every time that it's used. So Thawne is very clever and intelligent, and would probably realize that it is something that is useful or something that means something. And Thawne is also like a stated like master of time travel. He's one of the best time travelers in DC. He can sense like cosmic changes in the cosmos and the time stream. Given a fight that would last, like if the fight was truly a stalemate long enough, he would eventually figure it out. He also doesn't need to destroy the time ring to kill Goku Black. The time ring like allows him. The time ring resists one of the ways that Thawne kills people, which is going back in time and killing them when they're younger. But like paradoxing them, and it prevents Black from being paradoxed, but it doesn't prevent Black from just having his like head ripped off or something. Like he would still die. So it isn't. He'd have a bunch of ways to figure it out, and it isn't necessary that Thawne even figures it out. It's just
I feel like, especially with the glowing factor, it's just like, have you ever played a video game and found out an enemy's weak point?
Yeah, exactly.
He did it like that. Like that was how he did.
And the thing, the thing that really sold me on it was with their paradox, all the paradox shit going on, and how they really didn't have an easy way to kill each other. There was really only one way Black could win and one way Thawne could win, which Thawne would have to like they'd have to get around each other's paradoxes. And Thawne's ways of getting around Black's paradox, he had a lot more options, and it was far more likely that he would just destroy the time ring, even by accident, than Black being able to do what Barry had to do, which was erase Thawne from the timeline using the Speed Force.
Yeah.
So Black would have had to like somehow figure out about the Speed Force and like maybe destroy it, but even that wouldn't work because he'd have to also do the negative Speed Force. It's a lot more vague how Black might be able to actually get around the paradox stuff than Flash getting around.
The way that Barry wins is literally Speed Force bullshit. He grounds him to his timeline.
What a surprise!
What the fuck does that mean? Like, what does it mean? And like, I guess it kind of makes sense, but it's more of like it's more of an emotional beat than like a kind of an anime, like, we've set up this specific power system that is going to be exploited in this way. No, it's more like Barry goes. Yeah. It's that scene is more about Barry forgiving Thawne than it is about like the specific way that he defeats him.
Seeing as like we rarely have this many people who've like written death battles, is Flash like the worst character to do?
Right? So
Quicksilver sucked too.
Define words.
He just like because the speed. Yeah, I mean, but the Speed Force is such a stupid MacGuffin.
Oh, yeah.
Like
it lets him do anything.
Yeah, it's just kind of like anytime I feel like you have Flash in something, like it takes it to this silly level because it's not just like, oh, he's a speedster. It's like, no, the Speed Force is like,
he's Speed God. Like,
yeah, exactly. yeah, he's Speed God. And
Barry and Reverse Flash are technically Speed incarnate because they generate their respective Speed Forces.
Yeah.
So they are
Like
literally
step that they
Speed.
take.
Yeah, as like itself.
It's a concept.
Yeah, it's great when you have a concept fight a person. It's great.
And then Wally runs faster than the concept of speed, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Yeah, I found with like maybe one of the reasons that DC does well in Death Battle is I've noticed that a lot of the big like kind of Justice League-y superheroes, because they've been around for so long, they've all kind of gotten their like weird nebulous higher dimensional power source that they're connected to, like that essentially explains away all of the different things that they can do and kind of lets them be kind of like anime characters where they're just like, I want to win, so I'm gonna win. Like Flash has the Speed Force, Hal has willpower, magic users can just do anything that they think.
Yeah, I mean, even Wonder Woman, who is probably my favorite DC character, has buckets of bullshit.
Yeah,
like
the power of faith is one of the
they all have like a force basically.
Yes,
like a Star Wars
exactly.
There was literally a period of time where all of them connected to some sort of energy field that existed that was named after like colors. They technically still exist. They're just not mentioned as much. Like the green, the blue, the red. Like those are things.
Yeah.
Like I think Aquaman taps into the green or whatever it is. I can't remember.
Oh, the clear. Yeah. Sorry, that took me back.
So I was like, you're really gonna take the green from Green Lantern? You're gonna be like, nah, but
the green is
you're blue now.
Green Swamp Thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Green is all natural stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Dude, we should do Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing's fucking
Swamp
awesome.
Thing would be fun. That'd be great.
I would love to read through like the Alan Moore Swamp Thing comic.
Yeah, anything that'll give me an excuse to make fun of that fucking cartoon theme song any chance I get.
Pretty bad.
I have a really weird Swamp Thing matchup in mind that we're not going to do because the other character is X-Death from Final Fantasy, who's the villain of Final Fantasy V, and he's an evil tree. And that's the connection.
No, dude, Swamp Thing versus Pseudo Uno.
we need to keep moving, so let's go to question number 4.
Sure, question number 4. Why did you scale Thawne to Wally when Wally has been stated to be the fastest being in DC?
I think that moment was sort of taken out of context. We weren't saying that Thawne is faster than Wally's ever been shown. Like, Wally, when he was, like, unmoored from the Speed Force, like we talked about in Flash vs. Sonic, yeah, that Wally, that very current Wally, is faster than Thawne. Thawne, what we were doing was comparing specifically to 2 feats from the 90s. And the Flashes, Wally, all of them have consistently gotten faster over time. Like, every, like, few dozen issues, they'll be like, I'm running faster than I've ever, like, at the end of every story arc.
Yeah.
They'll just say, I'm running faster than I've ever ran before. And it's like, okay, so that means that they're faster than this feat and this feat and this feat. So
it's very Dragon Ball because like, I've hit the absolute peak limit of anything that could ever be.
Yeah.
3 episodes later, my God, I've exceeded it.
Exactly. Yeah. And Thawne has been able to match and surpass Barry and Wally up until very, very, very recently. So that he'd scale to that earlier stuff, including the trans-time velocity feat, the Cosmic Gambler feat, because that happened like decades ago, and Wally was stated to be way, way faster now than he was then.
I'd reckon Ultra Speed Force is just right around the corner.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Give it a little bit longer.
All right. Let's see.
Question 5.
Didn't Wally's time velocity feat require outside help to get that fast?
Yeah, I saw this question a bunch during Flash vs. Sonic and during this. So yeah, in that comic, Wally uses, like, he gets everybody on Earth, including a bunch of superheroes, to start running, and he absorbs their kinetic energy from like across the universe in order to make himself that fast. So you would think, like, on the face of it, knowing that, you'd go, oh, well, that's obviously outside help. Yes, but he was doing that instead of tapping into the Speed Force. Because this is an early Wally comic where he had discovered the Speed Force, but was really scared of using too much of it and being dragged into it. That's what happens. So instead of doing that, he was pulling kinetic energy from the Speed Force, he was pulling it from the people on Earth. Well, since then, Wally and all the speedsters have no problem pulling kinetic energy from the Speed Force. And pulling the kinetic energy from the Speed Force is the kinetic energy of the entire multiverse. So that's a much larger pool than pulling kinetic energy from just the people and superheroes of Earth. So currently, using the full Speed Force, a lot faster than that trans-time velocity feat. In fact, Barry in Flashpoint is stated to have pulled the entire Speed Force into himself, like ran with it, and then actually punched Thawne with it. It's this really tiny panel. It's not this big dramatic moment. It's this really tiny panel where it's like, you hit me with the combined energy of the Speed Force. And it's like, okay. so
that was annoying.
Yeah,
all of the Speed Force in one punch.
One punch.
What does that mean?
Like they wanted us to not see that. Like I was reading the comics and I was like, wait, what? So yeah, yes, it is outside help, but Wally was refusing to use the main thing that he usually does, and with it, he goes a lot faster.
Got it.
Real quick, I do see in the chat, Karen Worm asking, why didn't Reverse Flash fight Scourge the Hedgehog? Which is an interesting thing. I did see a lot of people wondering about that, because that's basically just Evil Sonic.
Yeah.
Which means it would have basically been Wally versus Sonic, but without Sonic's, like, literal canon plot armor.
Yeah.
So... Scourge would die. Anyway.
Okay, cool. Now, on to the last question about this matchup, and as always, my absolute favorite one. Do you hate Dragon Ball? Why do you always make Dragon Ball lose?
It is interesting.
Yeah, there you go.
It's 6-3 on the show.
I didn't even realize it until after we finished this episode, but Dragon Ball has been on a 6-year winning streak. So
there's twice as many wins as losses.
So clearly you hate it.
Yeah,
it
was
really hate it. Lose.
I think I saw that in a comment like on Twitter where somebody was like, you guys just don't like Dragon Ball, and somebody's like, dude, they've won 6 out of 9 fights. Like, I think they like Dragon Ball quite a bit. It's like,
but again, it has nothing to do with
what
we like.
Yeah. Dragon Ball could have lost every single fight we've done, and it wouldn't have any statement on whether or not we like it. They also could have won every fight that we've done, and it wouldn't mean that we like it or not. It's not what we like.
Yeah,
it's not the point of the show.
That doesn't determine the winner. I will say, I do think we had a very unfortunate sort of introduction to Dragon Ball in Death Battle with Goku vs. Superman and Kirby vs. Boo. Both those episodes are very controversial for obvious reasons. Both of them, I think, would be done very differently if we did them today, because those were like old school Death Battle style. But I think before the research team even got involved. So very old kind of style Death Battles that do not reflect how we do these things today. But because of how controversial those episodes were, it created sort of a narrative online, of course, that we had it out for Dragon Ball, or we didn't understand Dragon Ball or whatever. And I think I think that's lessened quite a bit over the years. I think, honestly, Broly Hulk did a lot to help with that, because I think I think we did a very good job with that episode. But there's always going to be people who try to push that narrative online. There are literal YouTube channels that are like maintain their audience by shitting on us.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, that's a thing. So they can't say that we're right, because that would, invalidate their entire audience or their purpose. So, it's a thing. So there's always going to be that narrative online. And at this point, it's just sort of like, we just sort of have to move past it. Oh well, Dragon Ball characters will continue to be in Death Battle. Like, there are plenty of more Dragon Ball characters to explore, and some that might be fun to bring back. And some of them are going to lose, some of them are going to win. We don't know. We don't plan the victors out.
Yeah, we brought up Yamcha the other day as a possibility. Who knows?
Yamcha sucks. Nobody wants Yamcha.
I'm not really sure what we would do with Yamcha, because the episode would basically be, Yamcha's actually stronger than people say, but he's probably still going to lose any match.
Still leading up to him in a crater.
It really, like, he is interesting. Yeah, because he's probably like a planet buster, like through scaling, but I don't know.
Probably more.
It depends. Yeah, probably more. But I don't know if that means.
I would assume he's more. I don't actually know.
I like. I respect Yamcha because he does exactly what I would do. Like, if you had all this power, it'd be like, oh, fuck all this wild fighting shit. Yeah, I'm just gonna go be like the best baseball player ever and just be rich as fuck, right? Like, that's so cool, right? Like, it was like, Krillin's poor. That sucks. You're so strong. Why are you poor? Like,
yeah, seriously.
I don't know.
He's got Android 18, so
yeah, he's rich in a lot of other ways. That's for sure. That's my boy. I want Krillin to get in a match one of these days.
Krillin,
He deserves
I
it.
love
great.
Krillin.
Krillin is very underrated. He'd be great.
I think
have.
Krillin is probably the best character in Dragon Ball. Hot takes. Fight me.
I mean, I would agree. I think Krillin is the main character of the Namek arc. Gohan shares it with Gohan.
Yeah.
Like, he makes it a lot more interesting to watch because he's clearly outmatched by literally everybody. Whereas Gohan is slowly
and
reaching
Vegeta
that
are
level.
like the best like trio in that. They're so entertaining.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once they
I
team
love
up,
what they do with Vegeta. Vegeta is never as interesting again as he is in Namek. I think.
absolutely.
Oh,
TFS reference, but Team 3 Star is the best team in Dragon Ball. All right, so I think that covers Goku Black Reverse Flash pretty well. The episode generally has been received very well, which is great.
Yeah.
I think the animation team killed it with the episode. We've talked about that, though, so we can move on. But thank you to everybody who watched that episode and shared it around. We'll get into Watchmen and Kool-Aid Man in just a bit, but I did want to do a quick shout-out, and Josh and Billy, go ahead and jump in as well. Red vs. Blue Family Shatters is coming out, right?
Yeah.
Like, very soon.
Yes. Very soon.
And these guys worked on it.
We did.
And that's all there is to say. No, go on.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's been super fun. I mean, like, to get to play around with these characters and not have to string together a serialized plot and just have fun with who these characters are and goof around in the VO booth with all of our amazing actors. Like, it's a big cast, so everybody gets to throw their 2 cents in, and we're just, honestly, it's just like we're having a blast. Like, I didn't know we could have more fun than we did on Zero, but we are, and it's just silliness and ridiculous stuff and doing stuff that makes us laugh, and it's been so great. And like, our crew is awesome, and you know, Billy's making stuff look amazing on his side of things, and it's just been a blast. We can't wait for people to start seeing these sketches.
I've been really enjoying the scripts as I saw them and getting to produce it and just getting to continue to explore using Unreal to make this show look pretty and interesting. You know, do some new things. Same stuff we use on Death Battle, so yeah.
Yeah. We even kind of like sort of built up to that using Death Battle, because like the Red versus Blue Death Battle, for example, which you worked on, Josh, uses some of those techniques. When does Family Shatters come out? You might have said that, and I missed it.
No, I don't know the exact date. It's like a week.
A
week.
Yes.
It's like, no, I was really trying not to say that, Ben. Thank you so much.
It comes out soon.
Very soon.
One of these days.
Crap.
I'll
No,
get
I
you
don't
that
remember
answer.
when it comes out. Wait,
It's this month.
It's
It's
this month.
October.
October 20th.
you can tell we're not the producers for any of
Worked
these
on the
shows.
trailer.
There you go. The 20th? Is that what you said?
Yep, October 20th.
There you go.
Yeah.
A week from today?
Nailed it.
Yeah. A week
Mark
from
your
today.
calendars. And that includes Josh.
We'll
Dates
bring
don't mean anything to me anymore, so.
We'll bring Noel through soon, who's a producer, and we'll know the dates.
Right. He knows all the...
Oh, it's
Hit
been
you with all of it, yeah.
It's been forever since we've had Noel on Death Battle Cast. We need to have him on.
Yeah, for sure.
My other favorite thing about working on this is I get to work with Noel. He's from fantastic. That guy.
Thank you, Brian.
I love working with Brian.
Very good.
Thank you.
Brian knows. The one person who knows who's not on camera.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Red vs. Blue Family Shadows coming out October 20th. Go ahead and get a first membership so you can see that first. That's why it's called first membership. Okay, let's talk about the Death Battle episode 150, the most shenanigans episode we've ever done. Holy shit, guys. What did you think of the episode?
I'm curious, do you think you, like, as like the creative director, man, Ben, do you want to do more episodes like this, or do you want to save it for special occasions? Because like the format is so different, and I think from like especially Liam's perspective, it's so much like there's a lot to play with, but it's also a lot more challenging to like thread it that way.
I'll put it this way. I love working on episodes like this.
Yeah.
I would love to do every episode of Death Battle as some crazy thing. That's not going to happen. We're not going to do that because Death Battle has a format that we want to stick to in you know, an expectation. Like, you guys watch Death Battle. I noticed there were plenty of people who didn't like this episode because it was so different. And that was totally expected going into it, which is why every time we're
screaming it from the rooftops.
Yeah, to that episode. Every time we mentioned it on cast or panel or whatever, we would say, like, it's going to be different, guys.
Yeah.
For real, it's going to be different. But there is an expectation of Death Battle. So, you know, we're not going to, like, this is a one-time thing, probably. Maybe when we do get to episode 300, we'll do something else wild. But generally speaking, we're not going to do something like this for every episode. I would love to, because I had a whole lot of fun working on this. But that's not the expectation for Death Battle. That being said, the intention of it was, the reason why we did this is because this is episode 150, right? It just so happened to line up where episode 150, a big milestone episode, would air during our 10-year anniversary celebratory season. So it was like, if there was any episode to do something crazy with and to really dive into not just the Death Battle, but also Wiz and Boomstick and the history of Death Battle, this was the one to do it with. I really wanted to take advantage of that. And I do, on that point as well, I do want to make it clear, going into Death Battle when we started it and all the way up to today, I've never intended Death Battle to be the Wiz and Boomstick show. You know what I mean? Like, Death Battle has always prioritized the Death Battle itself. Wiz and Boomstick have been hosts. That's their purpose. Every so often, we'll like hint at something larger with the characters, sure. But generally speaking, we've never like explored their stories, and we never intended to have some like arcing story in Death Battle, which is why
and will never.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why this episode is just a singular moment, right? Like we kind of set it up at the end of last season with a little teaser, but you know, I don't know, some other creative team might have decided to say like, oh, the whole 10-year anniversary season is going to be like this build up to episode 150 where Boomstick is searching for his dad, which definitely crossed my mind as something that we could do. Like every so often we would have like a little bit of story, but
it was brought up.
It just doesn't work. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, this is something I'm very passionate about, as you know, Ben, because like, you know, we worked on the internet for a very, very long time. We worked with a lot of creators. We've seen a lot of shows be created and die. And man, if you have a show that starts taking off, that has a format that anybody can jump into any episode at any time and just enjoy it, and that could be their introduction to your series, it's a really good thing to keep going. If you try and jam story and things like that into it, that's like the fastest way you can murder your successful show. So that doesn't mean we don't want to do that stuff. We just won't do it in Death Battle.
It's just why we need a second narrative show.
Exactly.
Death Battle Labs. And then we can do all the shit there.
I would love
and
to.
keep it fun.
There's definitely been talk, because I did see some people wondering after this, is this like a pilot for a new show? Wiz and Boomstick Go Adventures or whatever, right? We've certainly talked a little bit about that behind the scenes for several years. Like, what would an Adventures of Wiz and Boomstick show be like? Or
the little skull logo that's on Wiz's lab coat and like we use as like our icon and stuff came from trying to make a logo for the labs. Like that was how that iconography showed up in the first place.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's ever actually going to happen. That's just something that's been kind of tossed around. We've tried a few ideas, thought some things up, but it's never really gone anywhere. That's just kind of how, this business works, right? We're like constantly thinking of ideas. Sometimes they go somewhere, sometimes they don't. And this was, but bringing it back to Macho Man and Randy Savage, because of the way this episode lined up in terms of like the number and the year, this just felt like the one time we would be able to get away with doing something so different.
Oh yeah.
And also, we have been setting up this joke, this like dark bit with Boomstick for years with his father, right?
Yeah.
And the joke's gotten old. It got old like 5 years ago. So I figured like the ex-wife jokes, for example, were a thing that were really common in the early days, and that kind of died off as well. It comes up every so often, but it generally isn't used all that often. But the dad joke thing didn't feel like to me something that we could just necessarily just drop, especially because it had been so well established. And so I thought, like, if there's anything that we're going to explore in an episode like this, Boomstick finally like overcoming this implied, because we've never really explored it, childhood trauma would be an interesting thing to cover. Very out of left field for Death Battle, I know. Very unexpected to cover such a serious topic, which is why it doesn't get super serious. But that was the idea. And to be honest, when we teased it at the end of last season, when Mask threw a letter at Boomstick and he goes, "Dad," I wasn't entirely sure how we were going to end it. I had plenty of ideas, but I wasn't entirely sure. And even as I was working with, so Genevieve was the writer for this. As we were going through it, we discussed multiple different like ideas for the ending. Like, the big question was, does Boomstick actually meet his dad? And the very early idea was that, yes, he does approach him. But even before Genevieve started writing on it, I was going over ideas of how that might turn out or how that might play out. And it just felt wrong to me. It felt like it might get too serious, like for Death Battle. And by serious, I mean like Boomstick like confronting an absentee father figure about like him being.
It certainly is a heavy topic.
It's like seeing Boomstick do that, like
the comic relief guy is a lot. Yeah.
So instead, we quoted an '80s song, and then his mother shot at him, and he was skidding it off and laughing.
Yeah. Like, I wanted to jump the shark a bit, but not that many sharks, right? So we're gonna just jump one shark, not 5 of them. So I did want that moment to feel like legit. I didn't want it to feel like a joke, but I also didn't want it to feel like, hey, you clicked on this silly fight of Macho Man versus Kool-Aid Man, and now you're getting this like incredibly intense and dark, potentially dark sort of scene that you would expect from like a drama. It's like, it doesn't fit. So eventually we came to the conclusion that he just doesn't approach him. Instead of resolving issues with his father directly, he decides to just move on and not need his father. Clearly he's never needed him before.
We bumped it, like we being Liam, Billy, and I, like with this last season of DBX, we also kind of bumped into like some moments where we were like, clearly Marshall Ringmaster is like a character in like he's kind of in a bit of a spiral through the whole season, and like keeping that on this side of funny was like something that was always a top of mind. So it's like a lot of times in script reviews be like, oh no, that's sad, Marshall, we don't need that, like we need to tip this back onto funny, like
up. Can you make it a little less fucked up? Like, oh,
that's usually in every script review.
Comment from the chat. So it's Boomstick confronting his father is darker than what was it? I missed it. Okay, ripping arms off and whatnot. I mean, Death Battle losing arms, like it's this silly fictional idea. These are fictional characters beating each other up. Like, it's inherently silly, no matter how violent it gets, honestly. Like, it can get dark, like Spider-Man shooting webs down Batman's throat. That's dark, and we didn't do it because it's dark because it's out of character.
No, you didn't do it because the sprites wouldn't allow it.
Also, the sprites, so it would have been difficult to do at the time. But it's totally out of character, and that makes it like a little. That's a kind of jump the shark moment, right? Where we're like making it darker than it should be. This is an emotional trauma
wasn't
scene.
Supposed to end like that.
Right. Yeah, Pokemon Digimon is the exception because of how time worked.
I love it.
And again, by dark, I shouldn't be saying dark. I should be saying
heavy, like
heavy,
serious, right? Like
because Death Battle is inherently a dark show, right? Like, we are a dark comedy in some ways, but once you remove the comedy, then we're no longer Death Battle, and making like a traumatic, like emotional experience for Boomstick removes the comedy out of it. So didn't really feel right to me. But I also think like there's a better message anyway for Boomstick to. Thanks to his mom and his friends, because Wiz and Ringmaster are actually like, the story of it is Wiz and Ringmaster have different opinions of how Boomstick should deal with his trauma. Wiz thinks that he should move on, and Riz is the realist. He thinks that he should move on. Ringmaster is the hopeful one. He's like, well, we can find him. I know we can. That's the story of this death battle, and that's what Wiz and Ringmaster are doing the whole time. And so it ultimately, but they can't necessarily figure out how to like. They can't necessarily get Boomstick to choose one or the other, and it ultimately comes down to his mother, which was such a fun scene to record, by the way, with Barb. That was super great. So it's a weird episode, ultimately, with some very complicated things to do during the writing and production process. But I am so happy that you stabbed Donatello like 20 times again. Yeah, because it's a dark comedy. It's silly. Also, that was episode 4 or 5 or whatever. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. That was 10 years ago.
And that was also that was peak. What if we killed him this way? Because it would be brutal. Because
yeah, the show wasn't like an informed process. Then
I've talked about how the Ninja Turtles Battle Royale changed the entire process. I've talked about that before. Like that was a big wake up call for me when that one was like. When we saw the reactions to that one, and then like Nickelodeon took it down, I was like, oh fuck, we've been treating this show wrong the whole time. So if we did that episode differently, yeah, all the deaths would be entirely, or now the deaths would be entirely different.
I like it. He's like fucking evil.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, you got to do it.
Immense scum energy.
Stab.
Saber Will Talbane. So
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Forgive me. No.
Oh my gosh. Man, is there anything else? Is there anything you guys wanted to talk about with Macho Man Kool-Aid Man? Because it was a ridiculous episode.
Go ahead, Josh. Go ahead, Chad.
Well,
or Josh, or anyone. Literally.
Go, Josh. Go.
I didn't work on the episode, but obviously I was aware of it, and I saw like clips of animation as it was coming in. But truthfully, I had no idea it was going to be so different structurally. So when I finally sat down to watch the whole thing like a week before it aired, I had a grin on my face the entire time. I was like, this is amazing. I'm so glad everybody went for it and did something so different. And I think like what we were saying, it's like because the show is so consistent in its structure and has been for so long, like it did feel like this breath of fresh air that we kind of earned.
Yeah.
Like we could take a step back and do something different to celebrate the show. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think is like long time, like just as somebody, like I've always liked Death Battle. We've worked on it for quite a long time. Had nothing to do with this episode. It was so fun to like, it was my favorite episode in so long because it is such like a breath of fresh air in the show. And also Jocelyn, which for me is like that's you know that is like Jocelyn is the character I have the most involvement with in like the whole death battle thing. So like just getting her in it and like just having Jocelyn be a part of anything, I'm just always happy.
Oh yeah,
especially just to work with Lisa because she's like fucking phenomenal all the time.
Yeah, she's the best.
Yes, I absolutely wanted. That was like a big thing that I wanted to make sure we did with this episode, is make sure we got Jocelyn back in, got Lisa back in, and also Jocelyn got a promotion. If you didn't notice, she's now IT.
So she got hired.
She got. Oh yeah, she didn't. She didn't get a promotion. Got hired.
Yeah, she was an unpaid intern before. Now
she's got an income now.
Yeah.
I feel like there needs to be a bit later where she finds out IT is just short for intern in this. Like,
oh my god. I do see question in the chat. Could we see more WWE in Death Battle? Probably. Definitely one of the trickier things about this episode, and one of the reasons why I wasn't sure if we should ever actually do this was how do we, approach Macho Man, specifically Randy Poffo, since Randy has obviously passed in real life. And I'm not a big fan of using like real people in Death Battle. We did it once, again, long ass time ago, back in the Screw Attack days.
Sure did.
Back in the experimental season. Like season 1 was the experiment season, right? Every episode is bizarre in that season. And I don't like that episode. Like looking back, that's definitely one of my least favorite episodes. Even when we aired it, I remember thinking like, I don't really like this episode.
I mean, I feel like it was very much an attempt of like, can we get on a viral wave?
Yes,
yeah.
that was actually
It's very of its time.
exactly what it was.
Yeah.
There was a
I'm so mad.
there was a request at the time basically to say, hey, you're making these episodes in 2 weeks. Can we take advantage of things that happen as they happen? And that's what the attempt was. And the answer was no, because Death Battle should take longer than 2 weeks to make.
Man, also, I'm still so mad because I will never forget, because I'm like really interested about on like the YouTube side. I'm like, let's see how this does. This is very experimental for our show. We're breaking out of fictional characters to real characters, but so I was like, I really wanted to see how this was gonna go. And we dropped the episode, and within an hour, YouTube fucking broke for a week. It was like seriously like 5 days or 5 to 7 days, and analytics weren't working. And all the viewership that happened during that time, nobody got in their videos. And I'm just like, still, I never will forget that, because I was so excited and it was ripped away from me.
Steven mentions we did Chuck Norris. Yes, that was going to be my next thing. So Chuck Norris is the other time we did a real figure in Death Battle. But here's the thing. That's not the real Chuck Norris.
Yeah, we didn't use the real Chuck Norris. We used the internet Chuck Norris.
We used meme Chuck Norris. And that's exactly what kind of convinced me about how we should handle Randy Savage. Because Macho Man is technically a fictional character, right? There's some... People can interpret it differently because wrestling is a little tricky, right? Because it's technically a fictional world, fictional story, whatever, but you can treat it like it's a sport with like an actual athlete, and so Randy Savage is the athlete, and athletes aren't fictional characters. It's a little tricky. Like, people see it different ways. But Macho Man himself is supposed to be a fictional character, and so my thought was, well, Chuck Norris works great in Death Battle because he's a cartoon character. So we'll just treat Macho Man like a cartoon character, which is why we brought in stuff like Rastlor and the ridiculous feats from the I almost said Twizzler, not Twizzler commercials, Slim Jim commercials.
Yeah.
And like one of the first things he does in the battle is he summons lightning from the sky, and he's very cartoonish, right? So that was basically my thought process, was if we treat him like a cartoon character, similar to how we're treating Kool-Aid Man, it will separate realism from the fiction of the character. So that was basically the direction there. I wasn't sure how people would react to Randy, unfortunately, losing the battle. That was like the big thing for me. I was like, how do we
not
do that and make it like not feel weird? And basically the idea was lean into the cartoonishness of it. Make it like over the top and ridiculous, have a Herc bleh, red versus blue kind of moment.
But there was rainbows of Kool-Aid exploding out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's really over the top. Yeah, it's really over the top, and I think that worked out okay. I mean, clearly it did. The reception has been really positive. Things it apparently worked out just fine, but that was definitely something I was very nervous about going into the episode. I was like, I don't know how people are going to react to this. I really hope it's okay, because obviously we don't intend to disrespect Randy Poffo or anything like that, or his family or anything like that. That's obviously not the intent. So
I saw someone take a screenshot of his Randy Savage's death moment, like with the rainbow popping out of his chest, and just captioned it, corporations on June 1st.
That's pretty accurate.
That is pretty great.
Oh my god. Let's see. Oh, I also did want to give a quick shout out to the animation team. Because holy shit, the animators did such a kick-ass job. That would be Tanya, Abby, Andrew, Chris, Gil, Quinn, Susie, William, Josh Ornelas, and Luis, of course, who Luis and Josh worked on that crazy stop motion idea. Which was all Luis's idea, by the way.
So good.
Yeah,
and he made everything.
We talked about that in the commentary if you want to check that out. It was all Luis's idea. He was not drunk this time. He just wanted to try something new.
No, I think he's drunk on Blender, but like,
Yeah, that's true.
that's
He
about
is,
it.
man.
He's been just like slamming the Blender juice for a while now. And he's doing some cool shit with it. So glad
And
to see
also,
it.
shout out to Al for a lot of the boards. Like, there's that one shot leading up to the stop motion where they do the like creation of Adam pose. I don't know if people noticed that, but
I noticed it immediately. I noticed it when it was I think it was in the storyboards or something. I can't
yeah,
remember.
that's why that's why I mentioned Al, because he did the storyboards. He set up that shot. That was not my idea. He did
Was
that
it in the script?
Yeah, it wasn't in the script.
Oh,
He just did it.
I love it. The second that happened, it just jumped out immediately, and it cracks me up every time.
And I believe Quinn and Tanya worked on that shot. And we were like trying to figure out how to pose Kool-Aid Man correctly because he's not like a normal person. So like the pose was really weird to work around to make it look right. It was such a ridiculous like conversation of like, well, I think his knee needs to be bent this way in order to look like God. So yeah, things we do for Death Battle.
Great.
Oh man, yeah. Well, we only got 3 minutes left, so I don't know if anybody else has anything they want to say. We didn't even talk about.
I mean, it's just good.
I was going to say, we talked about Krillin matchups. Has anyone here seen Shaolin Showdown?
No.
Krillin versus Omi.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Please.
All right, that's my addition to the conversation.
Okay.
That'd be
Back to
great.
topic.
Well,
No, it's just, we finally did it. I
Yeah.
made a stupid joke tweet 10 years ago. Someone found it. And we did it. After 10 years and 150 episodes, we did Macho Man
so
versus
I guess
Kool-Aid Man.
stay tuned for episode 300. Hermione Granger
Juggernaut.
versus
Yep.
Juggernaut.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Chad, you should just make up a bunch of crazy matchups and tweet them all out, and one of them will stick 10 years
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, there we go, man.
Oh
No,
my
it was super
gosh.
cool. I mean, this was a celebration of, 10 years and Death Battle and all the episodes, and everybody who's worked on it, and also all of you guys for watching the show. Like, it's crazy that you've supported us so long and allowed us to keep this show going and be so successful and get to do stuff like this. So it's also a celebration of you guys. So thank you so much for watching and keep doing it.
Absolutely, and thanks to you guys here as well. Like when we made Death Battle like 10 years ago, like it was just me and Chad, right?
It's so
and
weird to see how big it is.
I definitely did not expect it to go longer than maybe 25 episodes at most. I think we planned 26 episodes. We were going to end with like Chuck Norris, Sega to Sancho or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But like it wasn't, the original plan was, we'll do this for a year or two and then we'll do something else. 10 years later, here we are, and all you guys are involved as well, which is great.
Yeah,
I love this
Happy to
big
be on the
family.
crazy
It's great.
train.
When Josh just mentioned like tweet out some matchups and maybe we'll do them in another 10 years, it just made me think it's like I'd still be pretty fucking happy to be doing this in 10 years. Like there's a lot left on the table to play with. Like
We're gonna do this so long. Eventually, I'll just sound like Boomstick normally. That's
Yeah, you won't even have to put a voice on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, if we're like freaking 70 years old and still voicing Wizard,
I know, right?
I don't know about that, but hey, I guess I could be wrong. Man,
That's
oh
crazy.
my god.
Boomstick die in Wiz versus Boomstick and are replaced with new, younger co-hosts.
Well,
Yeah, there
I
it
am-
is.
like
I
Steve
am
and
curious.
Blue's Clues.
Yeah.
I am curious what you guys think watching this right now of having Jocelyn and Dummy and Ringmaster be a little more involved with Death Battle as it goes on. Because I really enjoyed having them in this episode. And
Yes.
again, the intention of this episode isn't to like rework the format of Death Battle. Next episode, Alucard versus Dio, is, a normal, I guess, Death Battle episode. It's the same format we usually do. It's not like this crazy, like, let's jump between the fight and the rundown sort of format that we did with this. We're not doing that again as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know. So what would you guys be interested in seeing other Death Battle characters be part of the Death Battle itself? Maybe as part of the rundown, as part of the analysis. I don't know. It'd be great to try that out. Like that would definitely be something I would love to try out in a future season, where they like join the hosts. And it's again, we don't want to turn it into a story or whatever like that, but they would maybe just like be a part of the rundown for whatever reason. Maybe
Yeah,
Jocelyn
or something. I really like the dynamic of Dummy and Jocelyn together.
Yeah,
So.
maybe they each have their specialized like area that they take over the episode for or something. Like, remember the Board of Wisdom? That was a thing we did like ages ago. Maybe it could be something like that. I don't know. Yeah, everybody in the chat going normal, whatever that means for Death Battle.
Shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. Like Chad said, thank you guys so much for watching Death Battle for so many years and for supporting us. It's amazing. And I know we do some weird shit every so often, and it's not necessarily it's fine if you don't like when we do like an episode like this and it's just weird and off the cuff. I hope you guys enjoy the other episodes we do. Like Alucard versus Dio comes out in 2 weeks, and Red
Liam's
versus Blue
dream
Family
matchup.
Shatters as well. is coming up
We
soon.
will have a preview for Alucard versus Dio next week, along with our Death Battle cast that you might have seen on Twitter. Trunks versus Cable. We're doing that next week, and we'll also have a preview for Alucard Dio. So show up next week.
Thank God I didn't have to.
I'm taking Trunks and Liam's taking Cable, I believe.
I was like,
So it'll be
Yep.
I don't know
fisticuffs.
anything about a cable. I'm a cord cutter, so I only have Netflix.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, we're ending it on that.
Go out on a strong one.
Oh no. Oh no. All right. Thanks again. Death Battle's been around for 10 years. These guys are amazing.
Your
I
raps
can't wait
are
for you guys
your
to see the
old
next
pal
episode.
Cable.
everybody.
Fucking basic. It's from-
As always, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be awesome, and we'll see you next week.